next few minutes, I am going to give you a genuinely new way of thinking. It is the exact method used by the greatest scientists, inventors, and founders to solve problems that everyone around them called impossible. It is called first principles thinking. And it is the very idea this whole channel is named after. Here is the strange part. Two people can look at the exact same problem. One sees a solid wall and turns away. The other sees a door and walks through. They are equally smart. They have the same facts. The only difference is how they reason. And once you learn to think from first principles, you start to see doors where you used to see walls. There are really only two ways to reason about anything. The first, and by far the most common, is reasoning by analogy. This means you look at what others have done, what is normal, what worked before, and you copy it with small tweaks. It is fast, it is safe, and it is how we handle almost everything in life. The second way is reasoning from first principles. Here, you ignore what everyone else assumes. You break the problem all the way down to the handful of things you know are absolutely true. And then you build your answer back up from those, from scratch. Reasoning by analogy asks, what has been done before? First principles thinking asks a very different question. What is actually true here? So, what exactly is a first principle? The term goes all the way back to Aristotle, more than 2,000 years ago. He defined a first principle as the first basis from which a thing is known. In plain words, it is a foundational truth, something that is simply true on its own and cannot be broken down into anything more basic or deduced from anything else underneath it. Everything else is built on top of it. Think of knowledge like a building. Most of our beliefs are the upper floors, resting on the floors below, which rest on others still. First principles are the bedrock at the very bottom, the truths that are not standing on anything else. And the whole method is simply this: dig down through the floors until you hit that bedrock, then build again from there. Now, reasoning by analogy is not stupid. It is a brilliant shortcut. If we questioned every single thing from scratch, we would never get out of bed, but it hides a serious danger. When you copy what everyone else does, you also inherit all of their hidden assumptions and all of their limits, often without ever noticing. You end up trapped inside a box built by other people who were themselves copying an even older box. This is the quiet power of the phrase, "That is just how it is done." It sounds like a reason, but it is not a reason at all. It is the absence of one. It is a whole chain of people assuming someone, somewhere, further back, must have checked. First principles thinking is simply the refusal to assume that. So, how do you actually do it? The whole method boils down to just 4 steps. Step 1. Clearly name the problem you are trying to solve, or the belief you are questioning. Step 2. Ask of every assumption around it, how do I actually know this is true? Not, does everyone say it, but, how do I know? Step 3. Keep asking that, peeling away each assumption until you reach the bedrock, the facts that are genuinely, undeniably true. And step 4. From those solid truths, and only those, build your answer back up from scratch, ignoring how it has always been done. Name it, question it, strip it to bedrock, rebuild. That is the entire engine. Everything else is just practice. Let me show you this in action with a famous example. Years ago, when electric cars were still a distant dream, everyone in the industry agreed on one thing. Batteries were, and always would be, hopelessly expensive. Around $600 for a single unit of storage. That was just the price. Reasoning by analogy said, it has always cost that, so it always will. But one team refused the analogy and asked a first principles question instead. What is a battery actually made of? They listed the raw materials: cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, some others. Then they asked, What would it cost to just buy those raw materials on the open market? The answer: around $80. The materials were cheap. It was the old way of assembling them that was expensive. Suddenly, a wall everyone accepted became a door. The same thinking cracked open an even bigger wall: rockets. For decades, everyone knew that space travel was astronomically expensive and there was nothing to be done about it. But a first principles question cut straight through. What is a rocket actually made of? Aerospace-grade aluminum, some titanium, copper, carbon fiber, and fuel. And when you added up the cost of those raw materials, it came to a tiny fraction, just a couple of percent, of the price of a finished rocket. So the materials were not the problem. The real hidden assumption was that you use a rocket once and then throw the whole thing away. Question that single assumption, land the rocket, and fly it again, and the cost of reaching space collapses. The bedrock facts had been sitting there the whole time. Everyone had simply stopped looking at them. If this feels modern, it is actually one of the oldest tools we have. Long before rockets, Socrates walked around Athens doing almost exactly this, relentlessly asking people, "But how do you know that?" And then, whatever they answered, asking it again and again, until their confident assumptions crumbled and only real understanding was left. Centuries later, the philosopher Descartes tried to rebuild all of human knowledge from scratch. He doubted everything he possibly could, every belief, every sense, searching for a single truth he could not doubt, and he found one: the fact that he was thinking. I think, therefore I am. That was his bedrock, and he built back up from there. First principles thinking is not a Silicon Valley trick. It is humanity's oldest, sharpest instrument for finding what is real. Now here is what most people miss. This is not only for rockets and batteries. It works quietly and powerfully on your own life. So much of how we live is pure reasoning by analogy. This is the career I should want, because everyone respects it. This is how a life is supposed to look, because that is what I was shown. This is simply what people like me do. Each of these is an upper floor, resting on assumptions you may have never once examined. First principles thinking invites you to go down to the bedrock and ask, what do I actually want? What is genuinely true for me underneath everything I was handed? It is not about rejecting all tradition. It is about knowing which of your walls are real and which are just painted on. But let us be honest about the catch. First principles thinking is hard. It is slow, it is effortful, and it can be deeply uncomfortable because it asks you to question things everyone around you takes for granted. That is exactly why we default to analogy. It is cheap and fast, and most of the time, it is good enough. You do not need to rederive breakfast from bedrock every morning. So the skill is not to use this everywhere. It is to know when to reach for it. Use first principles thinking when the stakes are high, when you want to build something genuinely new, or when the standard answer, the one everyone accepts, quietly does not sit right with you. In those moments, the slow, hard path is the only one that leads somewhere new. So how do you start building this muscle? A few simple habits. First, keep asking why. When you hit a belief, ask why it is true, then ask why of that answer, and keep going 4 or 5 times deep. You will be amazed how often the trail runs out and there was never any solid ground beneath it. Second, learn to separate facts from conventions. A fact is something that is true. A convention is just something we have agreed to do. We constantly confuse the two. And third, be willing to sound a little naive. The most powerful question in the world is often the simplest one. But why? Children ask it fearlessly, and then we train it out of them. First principles thinking is, in many ways, just the courage to ask it again as an adult. So here is the real gift of this way of thinking. Most of the walls in your life, the ones that stop you, the ones that decide what feels possible, are not made of stone. They are made of assumptions, inherited, unexamined, and quietly passed down. First principles thinking is simply the willingness to walk up to those walls and check, and you will find that a surprising number of them were doors all along. This is the entire spirit of this channel, to take the things everyone accepts without thinking and gently ask, but is that actually true? So let me leave you with this. What is one belief you hold right now simply because it is what you were handed, that you have never once traced down to bedrock? Pick one and ask, but how do I know? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to see the world with clearer eyes, subscribe to First Principles Talk. We're just getting started.